I'm guessing you haven't earned any more money since the last time I saw you.
Excuse me, employee. As a matter of fact, I'll take one of these cheap stereos, too. Yeah. You know what? I'll take 3 of them. That's right. 3.
Sir, this is a library card.
Oh, hey, check that out. All right. Oh, you know what happened? I left my credit cards in my limousine. Yeah.
You have a limousine, too?
Oh, yeah. It's parked right out front, because I'm really rich. Hi. Hey, Kev, come on, man. Let's go get my credit cards out of my limousine, man. Yeah, I'm rich.
Welcome back to another episode of Kenan and Kel with Adam and Aaron. Me, Aaron.
Me, Adam.
And this week we're talking about episode number 15 in season 3, The Limo.
Yep, referring to the eponymous limousine that we set our episode in.
Adam, nobody knows what that word you just said means.
Eponymous.
Eponymous.
I'm not even sure if it's a real word.
I don't know about that.
The titular location.
When you would actually have to right-click, look up in real life, like conversation, you probably shouldn't use it.
That's a good point. But yes, we're talking about Kenan and Kel, the 90s Nickelodeon program. And they're, as we're counting down the 90s decade, for sure. This is January 99. When this episode came out. Yeah,
we are nearing the end of the 1900s here.
Yeah, we're counting down with Kenan and Kel properly.
That's right. Yeah, so season 3 runs until a little bit further on in 99, and then season 4 picks up in 99 and ends in 2000, the turn of the century.
Yeah, and as we've joked about, massive season, like 22 episodes.
They got at it while the getting was hot, or whatever the saying is. I don't know. The harvest was plentiful here, so they're like, okay, let's have as many episodes as possible before we get canceled. And that's what's happening here.
Yeah, they could tell that Kenan's getting pretty old, and Kel's growing a mustache. And
I mean, but we're still, Adam. I don't know if you agree. We're still kind of in the thick of Kenan and Kel.
Oh, for sure. I don't know when the series goes bad. I really don't.
We're getting over a little speed bump, I think.
We had a lull. I'd say the past 5 episodes, there was maybe 1 or 2 standouts.
Yeah. We're starting to see some repeating plot lines a little bit, some just predictable outcomes. Like this one, you kind of saw what was coming, but you didn't necessarily know how it was going to go down.
I think the way it got there surprised me.
I think so.
I did not expect them to spend the amount of time that they did on certain elements. And looking back at it, I was like, oh, that's really cool. There's 2 episodes that really reminded me of that we've already seen so far. Also written by Kevin Capello and Heath Seifert. And that is Dish Day Afternoon and Most Sweater Blues.
Uh-huh. I got some fenced in here too.
Also written by them.
Yep. So
I think it's cool how we can identify episodes by their writers now.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's join Cooley on the big orange couch and get right into it.
So Kenan's wearing a gray rugby shirt, red and blue stripe, white collar. Kel's wearing black jacket, red shirt, black hat. Pretty status. This doesn't just look like characters. They look like normal people in the 90s.
I agree. The only thing that threw me off is when Kenan turns a little bit and you see the giant elbow pads that he has.
He has a big patch. Yeah, it has a big patch.
So it looks like 3/4 of the sleeve.
Strange style. Yeah, the patch on the back of the shirt.
Yeah, but they welcome everyone to the Kenan and Kel program.
Television program.
And Kel has a wonderful prop to show with everyone.
Yeah, it's a photo album of baby Kenan.
Yes, and I probably could guess that these are real baby Kenan photos, right?
Definitely they are.
Yeah, you can. He shows him little cute, rosy-cheeked Kenan. It looks like preschool graduation Kenan.
Yep, very young and very cute.
Then he has a third photo, which is Kenan says, "Kel, that's not me."
And I'll quote here. It's actually a picture of an old Asian woman.
It's a good joke to start off the show on. But then Kenan says, "Speaking of dating, come this way." And they leave.
Yeah, he says, "Come on, Sosa." Reference to Sammy Sosa, the baseball player, famous baseball player. Adam, did you know anything about Sammy Sosa?
No, I could not decipher what he said. It sounded like, "Come on, Stevia."
Sammy Sosa got in trouble for cheating, corking his bat so it was lighter.
Ooh.
I believe. I might be wrong, but basically he lied and got caught. So that sounds a lot like this episode.
Actually, that's a good point.
That's pretty good foreshadowing. I do want to say one more thing about this photo album. It's literally black construction paper with little tiny like pictures just like taped to one page at a time.
Yes, I think confidently a prop for this bit.
Yes.
That said, well, Kel, as in response to Kenan leaving, says, "Kenan, that's the worst segue into an episode I've ever heard."
And then that's it. Yeah.
In response to that, I would like to ask, is it though? Because this episode is an episode about going on a date and like meeting someone's parents for the first time. Isn't that like a classic trope of like showing them like your baby pictures?
Yeah, that's something very like, yeah, I could see that happening.
Yeah, so I guess they could have bridged that a little better, but that's an element that I would not say is out of place.
I do wish that they found like, I don't know, like an actress or like oh, that's a picture of like this actress instead of just like an old Asian woman.
That's actually a good point.
Kind of distasteful because that is a person whose picture they're using.
That's our signed autograph of Ron Harper.
I highly doubt that they got consent for that picture. Maybe they did.
It could be like a stock photo,
I suppose, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, they've gotten worse extras on the show before. Remember that time they had an Eskimo?
Yeah, that was so random.
Doing things the Hemingway.
I imagine them watching back like some of these episodes. They're like, oh boy, some like training videos of what not to do in 2021. So we don't enter at Rigby's. Adam, where do we enter?
I was happily surprised to see them in a new set. They're in a stereo store called Music Mart. It's
really cool. There's like these funky looking stereos all around. It seems like they're in like Lost in Space or Star Trek or something. Like, and then there's this one in the center on this little tiny table that's kind of like elevated, and there's like a 4 like stereo system, just imagine one. It's like really high. It's like 12 inches high. And then on each side of it, there's these glass pyramids with speakers in them and a blue light on the bottom and then a pink light like towards the top.
It's really cool. This style has definitely come back into the fold with like streaming equipment and gear and stuff like that.
I feel like this actually was a great design for a speaker. Like, unironically, it's pretty cool.
And even the price tag, I'm like, that makes sense in today's age, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. All right, so I don't know why they're there, but they're just there. Maybe they're at the mall or something.
It's a thing to do, in town.
And so Kenan's like, whoa, to this stereo system. He says, Kel, come look at this. And Kel goes, whoa. And he rubs the table. He says, is it maple or treated oak or something like that?
Not the table. It's the speaker system. Did you get some of the features that this system has?
It's quite... I really like the name of the speaker, but I got quadraphonic something. Dual boosters.
Quadraphonic tweeters.
Tweeters.
Which I don't think is a thing.
What are you talking about? Dual boosters is definitely like that's good naming right there.
Dual bass boosters. So
okay, dual bass boosters.
Yeah, people do that nowadays.
Yeah, and then they press the play button, and some funk starts playing.
So it's good music too. We've had some bad dance music this season.
Yeah, and they just start grooving like in the middle of the store, which is what you're supposed to do, right? Like you go to like Walmart or Target, you press the play button and you start like dancing.
I love when they break out into song and dance. It shows just how in sync they are with each other and how much fun they're having.
They're just boys.
Yeah, just boys.
It's actually like a great little scene here. And then a man comes over, an adult. If this was Charlie Brown, he would sound like wah 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 wah.
They'd be like, no, I was just playing with the speaker. What? Yeah. It costs that much.
Yeah, exactly. So the guy says, would you please stop that or something? And then he says, would you like to purchase the Wasabi Bassmaster?
Yeah,
Wasabi Bassmaster.
You can hook it up to your Yatsubishi plasma screen TV. And Kenan's very interested until he hears the price tag.
$1,600.
Which, in today's money, I got the inflation calculator open here. For the first time in a while, I had to dust this thing off. About $2,600, extra $1,000 on top of that.
Wow.
Which is, yeah, that's a lot for just a speaker system.
Oh, but it's not just a speaker system, Adam. It's a Wasabi Bassmaster Quadraphonic Tweeter dual bass boosters.
Yeah, it's a lot of good features. It just occurred to me that, remember back in House Sitters when Chris offered Kenan $50?
Yeah.
$81 in today's money.
Oh.
A little more reasonable. Like, I think our guesses are like, this is probably like an $80 job. Sounds about right.
Well, look at you thinking on the fly.
Well, I just recalled it.
Converting numbers. You seem like me, teaching math.
Yeah, it's just fractions.
I don't know if my students picked up by now, but I literally make up things as we. I'm like, so how many bottles of orange soda would I need to fill this 20-gallon drum? It's like, wait a second.
Yeah, they have to convert liters into gallons.
Yep. Okay, so anyways, Kenan's like, oh, get out of here to the store clerk, which I think is kind of funny. And then we have a new character who's introduced.
Yes, a lady enters the scene that we later learn is named Melissa.
Yes, she's very interested in the stereo system, and Kenan is very interested in her. Mm-hmm. So he approaches, and what line does he use, Adam? Do you have it?
Well, first she asked him, do you work here? To which he replies, no, but I can make your life a little better by, like, marrying you.
So just aggressive.
Just really goes right for it.
This pickup game is so next level. It's like,
yeah,
I would like to spend my life with you.
I would like to point out that this actress is played by Karen Ashley, who is best known by her role in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. She was the second yellow Power Ranger in the series.
Not the first?
Nope. I think she started in, like, the movie era.
But welcome to the show.
Yes, I think she does a good job for, like, her kind of snooty rich girl character.
Sure, yeah, and that's exactly what she is, right? So she is just like this. Kenan's like, oh, this stereo, too bad it's $1,600. She goes, oh, that's cheap. Like who?
What a sale!
Who says that? Like, she's 17, right? It's like,
yeah.
What's going on there? Clearly, she has lots of money to dispose of. Do you want to let us know what Cal's doing right now?
Cal is he's hooking up earphones to a speaker in the back, and he shouts to Kenan, man, these headphones are loud. And Kenan's like, be quiet. Kenan, I can't hear you. I have headphones on.
Classic can't hear joke.
After she introduces herself as Melissa, Kenan makes another great joke of, hey, that's my father's name.
Yes, like, why did he say that? He's like so nervous.
Kenan has some really good, like, nervous date mess-ups in this one.
He is just trying to make her laugh and be innocent. The man comes over, says, hey, are you interested in this speaker? She says, yes, I'll take one. Here's my credit card. He looks at Kenan, and he just disrespects him to another level. He says, I'm guessing you haven't earned any money since I last saw you. It's just the ultimate burn.
And Kenan, not to be one-upped, commits to purchasing one of these stereos too. In fact, he's going to buy 3 of them.
Yeah, put it on the card.
Sir, this is a library card.
Oh, now my favorite line of the episode. I don't say favorite lines very often, but this is my favorite line. He says, oh, I left my credit cards in my limousine. And that's the rest of the episode, folks.
Yeah, it triggers things. Melissa says, oh, you have one too? Kenan's like, kind of has to get out there, so he's like, all right, come on, Kel, let's go. And Kel walks away. And at first, I was like, oh, hey, yeah, it's cool how predictive this episode was, because Kel has these, like, wireless headphones that, like, they knew that there'd be, like, top-of-the-line stuff. They're not wireless. There's a wire.
And yeah, it pulls the entire speaker that's hooked up to the stereo off the wall.
It looked pretty, like, real and scary when they fell.
Yeah, it looked like it actually kind of sparked up.
Yeah, there's a little, like, burst of something as they fall.
It's funny because, like, the props in that set were probably really old. And they're like, okay, how can we make this look new?
It's not every episode that we get a brand new set. And this one, for example, we go outside for, like, the first time.
Yeah.
It's pretty great.
Well, we've been outside for fenced in.
We were on that park set.
Yeah, but I mean, it was.
Kenan and Kel have been outside, but
you're saying like the
filmed
actual
on the
film.
streets. Yeah,
Oh,
natural lighting, all that stuff.
I suppose. But that's why I got fenced-in vibes. Yeah, anyways, that's the end of the first scene. We weren't at Rigby's, but now we are. So we cut over to Rigby's. Kenan's massive jeans that are just like folding over his shoes. I don't know how he doesn't trip. And he is just sweeping these peanut shells into a pile.
Yeah, he's like, I don't know where these nutshells are coming from. Meanwhile, Cal is drinking a 2-liter of orange soda, as he does. And he also pulls up a giant bag of nuts.
And he says, hey, Kenan, can I have $10,000?
and Kenan's just like, I don't have $10,000. What do you need it for?
Well, I'm thinking about writing, a screenplay, a small motion picture.
I want to finance an independent motion picture about a little boy who rescues a Chinese elephant from a Russian circus, which has been added to the Cal life goals list.
How could he have come up with something that genius? Like Cal must be very high in openness or creativity or all of the above. Quite the great idea, I might say, Cal.
Honestly, I think you could get an Oscar off that.
Unironically, that is such a good idea for a movie. It's like a little boy and an elephant.
Yeah,
right. Like, come on.
Hey, with only $10,000, do like documentary style.
Oh no, you could do like these super these close-ups of the elephant, right? And it's just sad playing in this rival circus. It's just trying to reunite with its family. He's stripped away at a young age. And so was this little boy. This little boy's like an orphan, and he's working in the circus, and he learns of the
That's a real Academy Award potential.
I might just go ahead and write it. Send it over to Kel Mitchell. Be like, hey, you have $10,000. If anybody has $10,000 wants to support the podcast, you can send us an email over at KenanandKelPodcast@gmail.com.
Yes, please. Or you can purchase 2,000 Friend of Hero shirts.
Oh my god. When we get them up, our merch site will be up soon, people.
Aaron, I do want to tell you, I did find the image.
Oh yes! Oh yes! Did you find the hero one too?
Yeah, I found the hero and the Friend of Hero ones.
Oh my god!
The main trouble is that as soon as I got them, I'm like, wait, isn't there something about putting celebrity likenesses on T-shirts?
Oh, you can't do that?
I don't think you can do it without their consent.
Oh well, we should just ask them.
Yeah, we should.
Hey,
yeah.
Can we make this?
That's actually a really good point.
Do you think we could make this? We'll give you.
That's a really good idea. Foolproof.
Yeah, I mean, well, what's it? I mean, come on. Like, I'll just slide into Kel's DMs. Like, hey, I have a podcast about your show with my bro. We're trying to make this shirt, Friend of Hero. Can we make it?
We're already on thin ice with just this show to begin with. I think Coolio might hear our beat sometime. He's like, and I think that's not cool.
Oh, Coolio, man, we have nothing but love for you.
Yeah, nothing but love.
Coolio, I loved your Hot Ones interview. That was the best.
I don't think he has a hot bone in his body either.
Wait, did I ever tell you? I looked up YouTube videos of Coolio playing the Kenan and Kel theme song, and he did it once, and it was so underwhelming. Like at a show with nobody sang it.
Oh no. That's very sad.
We would have sang it, Coolio.
Oh, absolutely.
We wouldn't have known the words.
Kenan gets mad at Kel for generating all these shells, and then they're surprised by Melissa enters the shop.
Yeah, she lets it be known that her daddy is going to. That's a red flag right there, everybody. But her daddy is going to buy the building next door.
Yeah, and so she came over here for a soda. And Kenan says, oh, isn't it a small world? And Kel objects to that fact. Man, the world's huge. It's like the largest planet in the solar system.
Fifth largest, Adam.
That's what Kel says, though.
No, he says fifth largest.
Does he?
Yep,
oh, man.
You missed that. Yep, he said fifth largest.
I thought it was a funnier joke if he thought it was the biggest.
Wait a second, Adam. What did we say about Kel and the circus? Wasn't that an early thing? Doesn't he have a relative
cousin
in the circus?
In the circus.
Okay, and he's eating peanuts. I have a feeling...
And he's dreaming about saving an elephant from a circus.
Right. I have a feeling... not only are elephants big in Hindu culture, where reincarnation is big, which is one of our Kel theories, but maybe peanuts give Kel superpowers.
Or he could just be reminiscing on his time visiting his cousin and seeing a sad Chinese elephant.
Yeah, because he's very empathetic and he feels emotions. Yeah.
So that's actually that's a crazy callback that we caught. I'm sure it was fully intentional. Melissa is asking Kenan why, he left in such a hurry. And he hastily explains that he had an emergency business deal. But he's kind of caught red-handed now because she's like, do you work here? He's wearing the apron and he's holding a broom.
Right, she makes it clear that he has those two characteristics at this moment. And Kenan goes, no, I own this store. And I'm teaching this person how to do it.
Kel insists that I don't work here. And then Kenan covers it by saying, yeah, he doesn't work here. I fired him.
Kel goes, fine! Storms out.
Leaves in a huff. The episode, it's got so many layers to it. This is a very long scene, and like so many good things happen, and it's
true.
So Kenan's like flirting with Melissa still. Meanwhile, like Kel's like in the background window, like making faces and stuff.
He's mugging straight at Kenan. He's very upset.
Kenan successfully asks Melissa out on a date for tomorrow night,
as long as Kenan brings his limo.
Then Chris enters into this from the back.
And then Kenan runs up and tackles Chris right back into the back office.
Yeah, and embarrassingly, he's like, hey, Kenan, did you wipe down the garbage cans yet? And as he says that, like, he's just plowed into.
He just tackles Chris. And then, Chris is like, what the heck? And Kenan explains, he's like, well, Melissa, there's this girl, she thinks I'm rich. And Chris is like cracking up. He's like, oh, yeah, and you have to play along. She thinks I own the store. And Chris is like, listen, Kenan, I'll play along if you scrape the mold off the deli meats and polish my pewter cow collection. When it pans over to a pewter cow collection. Talk about layers to this episode.
Yeah, I love getting another facet of Chris.
Yeah, I don't know why he has a collection. I don't know why it's in Rigby's. I don't know why he has somebody else polish it. Like, that seems like he would enjoy it. Am I wrong?
I think we'll see him in later episodes enjoying polishing his collection too.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
I do have to say though, I think something has to be said when like the main writers get an episode like this, because I feel like they have fewer limitations in like budget and things like that. We've got 2 new sets, a whole pewter cow collection, and a bunch of limo stuff that's about to happen.
Right.
Yeah, kind of expensive stunts to have
They
on
probably
this.
save the money for the top writers. You know what I mean? They save the budget. They budget more for these episodes and less for the other people.
Or they budget them out themselves that way, so that they're doing this. Like, for example, I'm going to get you Kenan of last episode. We had, like, the jail cell, and it looked really crap together.
That was like a high school set.
Yeah, so he agrees. Although Kenan makes a statement about lying here.
Oh, Chris is like, but I don't like lying. And Kenan goes, oh, me neither. I hate lying. Lying is bad. And that's no lie. It doesn't mean I won't do it, though. That's like Kenan's logic. So, oh, yeah, lying is bad. I recognize that.
I'm pretty sure that is a lie. When he says that's a lie.
Yeah, that's no lie.
Yeah, that's one of Kenan's traits. He's a liar. Even that, like we were talking about in the recent episode, it's like, he lied even though he got into a worse situation because of it. Like in present tense. That was the recent one where it's like, if he just told the truth in the middle, he'd be A-okay, fine.
Oh, you can't do that.
Not in this show.
I mean, he could have told Melissa. He could have been like, yeah, I actually do work here. I'm not rich. I was just nervous because you're so pretty. Boom.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, that probably worked. And
listen up, kids.
I think an episode towards like the Drake and Josh era of writing, you might have a little fuller story like that.
Right.
Or you might get a version of the story where like Melissa wasn't really rich to begin with either. And she was just pretending to impress Kenan.
Kenan walks back out to the front. Kel storms back in and says, you can't fire me because I quit. Cue wit. And then he storms away, but before he does, he knocks over a box of cereal and a carton of jam. And then he takes the payphone off its hook and then he slams the door.
Just really good.
I mean, if Kenan is the owner of the store, Melissa should probably be like, wow, you treat your employees horribly.
You let him do that to you?
Right. Something like that.
I also want to point out that great Kenan Kel balance this episode.
I would agree.
Top notch. We've been complaining about Kel getting a little too much spotlight recently, but this is perfect. Yeah,
this is good. Kenan definitely shines. Chris walks out. He says, oh, what's going on, boss?
And then he sees the mess and says, what happened here?
And then Kenan goes, Chris, clean up this mess.
Yeah, I'm tired of you slacking off.
Yeah, and do a good job. I'm tired of you slacking off.
Yeah, and Chris just like through his teeth is just like, don't push it, boss.
Yeah, I mean that was just Kenan's just out of line right there. Like,
Yeah, especially I think early this season we started pointing out that Kenan does like no work.
No
at
work.
Rigby's. He avoids work at like all occasions. So, Kenan is talking to her about doing this brunch thing, breakfast, lunch together. She gives him her address, and he insists that she's picking up in a limo.
And then she kisses him on the cheek.
Yeah.
And then she leaves.
Is that a first on Kenan and Cal? Is that the first sugar for Kenan?
Maybe. I think so. We're getting close. He might have got some from one of the goats in the petting zoo or whatever, the pizza farm. And then Kenan goes to Chris, you missed a spot. And he's like, oh, no, I mean, I'll get it.
Yeah, right.
It's like instinct to critique everybody.
As soon as he gets just a drop of power, like he goes power hungry.
Pretty much.
Cal comes back in. I'm going to give you one more chance to hire me back. Cal, no, I just made that up to impress her. He's like, oh. So I guess a raise is out of the question then?
It's just like, oh, I'm a kid. I've never worked. What do I say? Raise. We cut to the Rockmore residence where Roger and Cheryl are watching TV. Cal comes in with a plate full of fish sticks. And he goes, hey, you guys are out of fish sticks. And he puts the plate down. There has to be at least 50 fish sticks on this plate. Like, it's just one plate.
And he sits between them, like, basically ruining their day. Eating their food, interrupting them, hanging out.
Adam, I do have a continuity question here. Kenan is supposed to be going on brunch, right? And so we find out shortly after this that Kenan is like ready to go out.
Yep.
To the most expensive restaurant in town, which is a brunch restaurant. And Cal's eating fish sticks at 12 o'clock, 11 o'clock. What time is brunch?
So I think if you ask me, this is happening around 11 a.m. And all this stuff lines up. We get some exterior shots later, and they're all like daytime. It's not
Cal's
evening
eating
or
fish
anything.
sticks at 11 a.m.
Oh yeah, no, I think he's just doing that because I think that was gonna be his brunch. He's eating weirder things on this show.
Well, that's true.
He drinks orange soda for every hour of the day with cereal and stuff like that.
I suppose. But then he says to Mr. and Mrs. Rockmore, what are we all doing tonight?
Oh, that's a good. Yeah, you're right. That's wrong.
So I get. Anyways,
that's incorrect.
Let's just assume that the timeline matches up. And then Kenan announces from the top of the stairs, announcing Kenan Rockmore or something.
Yeah,
like
ladies and gentlemen, and Kel.
Right.
And he comes down, dressed to the nines.
He's in a tuxedo.
Hey, looking real good. And, he gloats that he's going to the most expensive restaurant in town. He's got to look his best. And his limo driver is there.
And a great moment here between the Rockmores.
This might be one of my favorite Rockmore scenes.
Absolutely. This is the best. Cheryl goes, you rented a tux, and you rented a limo? That must have been really expensive.
Yeah, and Cal kind of lets it slip. He's like, oh, she thinks that Kenan's rich. And she's like, why would she think that?
I told her.
And Roger replies, that's my boy.
And then Cheryl has this great moment. She's like, but Kenan, like, she's not going to know who you are. Don't you want her to love you for who you are? And then Kenan responds, nope.
That's my boy.
It's like the best Rockmore moment in the history of the show.
Yeah. At first, I thought it was a little out of character for Roger, but anything that Kenan does that Roger approves of, this might be the first we're seeing of this. Kenan wants to date someone, and Roger is like, he's full into it. He's behind him. He's like his wingman.
He's impressed with his son's dress, and
Yeah.
the limo driver, and
he wants his son to marry a rich little girl, and do whatever tricks that he can to make it happen.
He's also trying to get a rouse out of the limo driver, who seems fairly stoic.
Yeah, that's true. I don't think he scores any points with Cheryl. She gets kind of angry with him for that.
Yeah, she's like, oh, Kenan.
And now, as Kenan pointed out in the Fenced-In episode, the only thing that can ruin this plan is you, pointing to the picture of Cal. Because Cal says to Kenan, he starts pleading with him, I want to ride the limo. I want to ride the limo.
And then he starts screaming.
Roger and Cheryl just basically like, take him with you, please. Get him out of here.
Yes. And then the limo driver rolls his eyes because
Dang.
he's like, I don't want to have to drive that guy.
Kenan's like, all right, fine, you can ride with me until we get to her house. Then you're on your own.
So we cut over to the next scene, which is a limo.
Yes. And we got some, like I said, exterior shots.
That's right, exterior shots. Kel is just turning on the dome lights and on and off and on and off. And it's not even dark out, it's light out, so they're not doing anything.
He picks up the phone in the limo and he calls Kenan, who's right next to him. Hey, Kenan, it's me. Guess what? I'm in a limo.
And there's very clearly palm trees in the background, so it's like they're not fooling anybody that this is Chicago.
Yeah, they're clearly driving through California. But like I said, it's awesome they got exterior shots.
That's right.
The driver's all like, do you mind? And then they like close the barrier between them.
Yep. Then they open up the sunroof. Kel goes out, starts screaming.
He urges Kenan to do it as well. And you know the scene, everyone does that. And of course, Kel closes the door on Kenan.
Yep. And again, fenced in.
Mm-hmm.
References there.
Do you think this could be the whole episode?
Could be the whole episode right here. I thought I thought Kel was gonna take down his pants. I thought Kel was gonna like do the whole thing again. Like literally, Kenan got stuck.
He has to, like, Melissa's there and he has to pretend like this is normal. He's like, oh, I hope you are enjoying my limo.
Oh my god.
Come on in. And he tries to date her with his feet just being there.
Yeah. Oh boy. Yes. Well, that could have been the whole episode. I was like, oh no, this again, and then
Some kind of limo centaur.
and then and then Kenan goes back in. We get a little cut pan to the driver opening the door for Kenan and Kel.
And once again, this is an exterior thing. They're like in a driveway type place.
Right. We're outside. There's a gargoyle of a lion.
Yes, you can tell it's a rich residence.
Cleanly trimmed hedges.
I think some fences as well.
So we're at the house, right? Kenan goes inside, and we're still outside with Kel and the driver, who Kel is kind of annoying. He's always been annoying to the driver, right? Before they got in the limo, and now he's like, "Hey, can I sit in the front?" And the limo driver says, "I prefer you didn't," or something along those lines.
And yeah, it's like, come on, please, let me sit in the front. And as he says this, like he's kind of wrestling and messing with the driver who has his keys in his hands. Then he drops the keys.
And Kel's like, "Oh no, I'll get it." And the driver says, "No, I will get it." So he goes down. The driver goes down to pick up the keys. Kel goes, "Oh, the door's open." Kel opens the door.
Yeah, he's like, "Oh, this part of the car is a door too." And as we established with the physics of last episode, everyone's like a one-hit wonder to the head.
That's right. So the driver gets hit in the head, then stands up straight, and then falls over.
Yep. Knocked out cold.
Cartoon-like.
In like I want to say like a Disney losing the parent moment. Like gets onto the ground and starts pleading with the universe like, "Oh no!"
Right.
A new catchphrase of Kel's, I noticed. Bringing back from house sitter, shouting, "Wake up!"
It seems like Kel is causing a lot of trouble this season.
Yeah, he's a real... he's a trouble magnet.
So he's just grabbing, violently shaking the driver, and nothing's working.
He also says, "Oh, sorry." I think he calls him by his name, Emmett. And he says, "Emmett, you all right?" And then he says to him, "You just gonna ignore me like that? I said I was sorry." And then, yeah, he goes down. He's like, "Oh no."
He slowly realizes the gravity of his situation.
That's the commercial break. We return inside the rich family abode.
Yeah, rich house here.
What were some of the decor?
There's just a marble twisted pole. There's these luxurious couches, which are pretty ugly. A rug, marble floor. It looks like marble walls, but they're just drywall painted with gold.
And I want to say the scenes of Kenan just in here. Once again, Kel's out of the equation when Kenan's in this situation. Are very, very funny.
They're good.
He first comes in and sees Melissa's mother, and he does the classic thing of, "Oh, you must be Melissa's sister."
And he's like, "Ha ha ha."
And she's just having none of it.
Right. Melissa's sister, aka her mom, is holding this little tiny dog, like princess dog, named Beethoven.
Yeah, and she introduces herself as Eleanor.
And then her dad is there too. His name is Guthrie.
Some kind of...
Eleanor, really Guthrie, Beethoven, and Melissa.
Do you think these aren't self-made rich people, right? This is inherited wealth.
I believe so.
No one starts off with a name like Guthrie. You have to be born rich. But also really fun moment of Kenan like almost sitting in like the dad's chair. And he's like, no, that's my sir.
Right. So they go to sit down. They're like, "Oh, would you like a drink?" Kenan goes, "Well, I don't know how long I'll be. How long does Melissa usually take?" He just doesn't know what to do.
Yeah, that's a running gag. He just keeps asking like, "Man, she sure is taking a while, isn't she?" Whenever he has nothing to say to them.
Right.
Her parents are kind of like, "We understand that you're in real estate."
Yeah. Oh, real estate, so much better than fake estate, you know.
Eleanor explains that Guthrie is also in real estate, and he's all, perhaps we could compare financial strategies.
I think Kenan's just like,
Is Melissa coming down anytime soon?
Right. We pan outside. Kel is just like shaking Emmett. He's doing like peekaboo.
Yeah.
He's like, wake up.
He says, you're playing, right? This is some kind of limo driver humor.
Yeah, you playing. And he's just like, what? He's crying, trying to get him up.
Meanwhile, inside. Oh, do you know the question that they asked him?
Oh, yeah. How have you amassed so much wealth at such a young age?
And Kenan's response, stocks, bonds, buy, sell, financial stuff. Does Melissa usually take this so long?
Stocks, bonds. It's like, what?
Suddenly their phone rings, and they're like, they pick it up, and they say, "It's for you," to Kenan. And Cal is using the phone in the limo to call him, which I think is real, like, it's useful, because they introduced that earlier.
Yeah, so Kenan's like talking, and Cal's like, the limo driver, he's not waking up. I don't know what to do. And he's just like, oh, wonderful.
Because, like, the parents are right there. Did you hear what their family name is when they answered?
No.
I think they said Pluckit residents.
Oh, my God.
So their names are Eleanor, Guthrie, and Melissa Pluckit. Yeah, our driver, he's unconscious.
So he's like, that was my driver. I'll be right back. He goes outside. He's like, okay, let's see what the situation is. Kel's trying to stand the driver up, and then he walks out. The driver, like, slouches down because, of course, he's unconscious. And then Kenan just asks, why?
Don't panic. I'm not panicking.
I was talking about me.
They, argue about this and get a plan together. And again, this could be... Kenan could fix this right now. He could just go into his office and he's like, we need help. My driver passed out.
He doesn't want to get found out, right? He doesn't want to find out that, like, and he doesn't want things to go wrong.
I don't think he wants the parents to talk to the driver because they might learn that, like, he's just a rental. Exactly.
Kenan walks back in. They're like, oh, is everything okay? He's like, yep, everything is good. Everything good is only good things are happening right now. Melissa comes downstairs.
Well, first, his plan to Kel. He told him what to do. He says, all right, don't panic. Put him in the trunk or something, and why don't you dress up like a limo driver?
Kel goes, where am I going to find limo driver clothes?
And Kenan just motions to the driver. That's what they do. He goes in. Melissa comes down.
Wait, oh, sorry. I did skip over the plan. Great plan.
Yeah?
If Kel could have driven the car, yeah, great plan.
Yeah.
Put the driver in the trunk, take his clothes. What could go wrong?
Put it this way. This is a temporary plan no matter what. Kenan can't spend his entire relationship pretending that he's rich.
I mean, he's just lost from the get-go.
Yeah,
like you can't lie from the first minute. Oh, I left my credit cards in my limo. It's like, you're done for, man.
Best case scenario is that, like, he has one good date where she doesn't figure things out and realizes she likes him anyway. Like, that's his only shot at this. So just getting there is like his go ahead.
But Adam, you got to remember, this is pre-Uber days, right? They don't have a backup plan. What are they gonna call a cab?
Yeah. Yeah, she needs a limo to get there. So hence why we're in this situation. Melissa comes down, dressed very nice.
Kenan goes, oh, you look great.
And then he says the worst thing that you should... Probably the worst thing he's ever says on any date in the entire series.
You probably could look a little nicer.
Don't you think?
And everybody is just aghast. They're like, what?
And she's just like, excuse me? Well, he's referring to, like, her taking longer time to get ready. But he says in the worst possible way.
Kenan could have just went to the bathroom.
Yeah, he could have just done that.
He's like, I actually have to go to the bathroom real quick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think just think you take longer time. It's like, are you saying I don't look good? And while she's doing that, her mom's like backing her up and like doing the head wobbles. And I didn't say you looked bad. And Dad's all, I think you did.
Yeah, it's bad. It's looking bad for Kenan, and he's just so flustered.
Yeah, he gets out of it somehow. He like, he's just like, no, I'm just a jokester. I'm all fun and games. You look great.
Can I say something though? Kenan is entirely overdressed. He's wearing a tuxedo. She's wearing like something you'd wear to like
brunch,
church or brunch. Yeah,
yeah. Yeah, no, he kind of went all the way, which I think that's Kenan's approach to being rich, to overcompensate. He didn't need to buy 3 speakers either.
Well, he doesn't know how to do anything with money or being an adult. He just thinks he does.
As they leave, she says, I hope it isn't the small limo.
Oh, boy.
Speaking of getting dressed up, Kel is now sporting the attire of Emmett.
The large attire, large jacket, large pants, a backwards Emmett hat.
And he's struggling to close the trunk.
The trunk that has Emmett in it.
Yes, right. That's why he's struggling. Melissa and Kenan come out. And she sees the Kel in this outfit, and she says, do I know you from somewhere? And Kel says, no, Melissa, that wasn't me at the stereo store.
Yeah. I think he says, like, or Rigby's, or something like that. And then Kenan just quick hushes him up.
They get inside, and
before Cal gets in, he goes, what are we going to do? Kenan's like, I don't know. And then they get into the car. Kenan and Melissa get in the cab, and Cal gets in the front seat. And Kel's just like beeping the horn. He's like, whoa, they got a horn here. Like, they don't have a plan at all. Like, Cal doesn't think about driving. Like, they're just sitting there.
Kenan has a word with his driver, and they both get outside the car.
Yeah, so they go in the car, and then they get out of the car, and they have a word.
Kenan walks over to the window. Kel rolls it down. He says, hey, Kenan, how's your day going? And so he pulls him out, and he says to him, he's like, you got to drive this thing, man. And Kel says, but I don't know how to drive. Kenan's just like, don't worry about that. Just learn.
Just learn. Great advice.
Yeah, Kel rightly says, I'm scared. And then Kenan starts thrashing him and says, you should have thought about that before you knocked out the driver.
He's like forcing him to drive.
And as he does that, Melissa's parents are like walking down the driveway.
Oh my god, it's so bad.
He goes, and that's how you defend yourself against an attacker.
That's how you defend yourself against an attack. It's just like, that was a clean save, Kenan. Yes, her parents are walking the dog, which means they're walking with the dog in their arms.
It's very funny. I'm happy nothing bad happened to Beethoven, I gotta say.
That's a good point.
Yeah, in a different episode, something... so far, the dogs on the show have been treated pretty well.
Bloodbath, Beethoven.
And, was it Jeffrey?
No, oh, yeah. The psychic's dog?
Yeah, the one in that office.
Yeah.
Dustin, that's it.
Oh, boy. Adam, we've seen too much of the show.
we have. Kenan smooths things over and explains to Kel, look, it's straight down the street. Just drive 3 miles. You can do it. You can do it. And he's like, yeah, I can do it. And he gives like a pep talk, and Kel gets sad in the front seat.
He sits down. Kenan gets in the back. They're driving, and it's just chaos. Like swerving, bumping, just everybody's being thrown chaotically. Like, Kel has never driven anything in his entire life.
Yeah. Move the dog! Oh, Lord! Like, he's just making all kinds of declarations.
Kel hits a pole and trash cans. Kenan gets out, and Melissa too. And then Melissa's parents are like, what's happening?
Well, each person in turn says to Kel, what happened? And Kel's, I got an accident. Melissa's, what happened? He got an accident. His parents are there. I got into an accident. And then the cops show up.
Yep, the cops show up, and they ask, what happened here? And he goes, I got into an accident.
Well, Kel says, all right, I'm tired of the question. We got into an accident. And
then they hear some thrashing from the trunk.
Yeah. Kenan's all, I can explain what happened. The thrashing happens. And then he's just like, what's that? Well, that's a little hard to explain. And they run away.
They run away. They literally run away, and that's the show. Adam, Paramount Plus did not put the ending in.
I'll tell you all about it. They emerge on stage. Cal says, we got a great show for you now. And Kenan's all like, wait, no, we just finished the show. Cal's like, no, I want to start the next one because I don't want to spend all week stressing about it. You know? And Kenan's just like, aren't you stressed enough from what we just went through? We wrecked the limo. I lost a date. And you're not getting your driver's license until the year 3,523, which is kind of that's a big thing that just happened on this show. Cal will not get a driver's license
Ever.
ever.
He probably doesn't need one, honestly.
It's Chicago. Most things are nearby.
That's right.
I do want to say that we're going to have a driver's license episode later in season 4.
Oh, I can't wait.
Kenan eases his fears by saying that, I just thought of plenty of ways that we can get into trouble. Grab a brain, a heart, and some courage, and meet me at the Emerald City. Come on, Ozzy!
Oh, boy.
Wizard of Oz reference. Oh, here it goes. Yeah, and that's the show.
That is the show.
Oh, what'd you think of this one?
I liked it in the beginning, and then like the whole limo stuff happened, and I was like, okay, like it could have been a little better, but overall, pretty great episode. I think the Dream Team did not disappoint.
I would agree. Something about the Kevin and Heath episode is just I feel myself writing notes constantly when I'm watching.
Yeah, they're so much deeper than the other ones.
Every line of dialogue is important and funny in a good way.
Yeah, they're good writers.
Yeah, and they handle the material pretty well. So whose fault do you think this episode it was? Kenan's or Kel's?
Kenan's.
Really? I think this was...
Kenan lied about being rich. Don't even go there. That was Kel's fault.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. Kel knocked out the limo driver, though. It'll have been okay. It'll have been an expensive date.
No,
they will get in trouble later on.
you have to expect that to happen.
The situation is Kel's fault.
Why did Kenan let Kel come on his date?
Yeah, right.
Kenan paid for it.
All right, I'm willing to give it Kenan or 50-50. What do you say?
Kenan.
Okay.
He lied.
Yeah, and I'm glad that his mom kind of outlined the lesson in the middle of the show.
Yeah.
Sometimes these episodes are a little moralless.
Kenan almost made it out, but it doesn't mean that he didn't lie.
Yeah, and his lies would have caught up to him eventually.
And so it was Kel's fault because the driver got hurt, but come on.
And Kenan is also the one that really pressured him into driving, even though he was
that
scared
is
and
just
didn't want to.
so
And
awful. Like, accidents happen. When you're with Kel, accidents always happen. But he pressured Kel into committing a felony. I don't know if it's a felony or a crime, whatever you call it.
This might be the most, like, law trouble that they got into so far.
Oh my god, they, like, put somebody in a trunk.
Besides the airplane situation.
Oh my god, the airplane.
That was rerouted. It didn't, like, crash or anything, but... Yeah, this is pretty up there in terms of trouble they've gotten into. So, all right, Kenan's to blame. I'm with you. There's someone I want to quick highlight that's not just involved in this episode, but every episode, and that's the creator of Kenan and Kel, Kim Bass.
Okay.
Kim Bass is a creator of a couple different series and properties in the 90s. Most notably, he was the mastermind behind Sister Sister.
Oh.
He based the show experience of having twin sisters as siblings, and he felt that they had a almost supernatural bond. like one lived in New York, one lived in Florida for a lot of the time, and when one had a stomach ache, it was like, she's like, oh, my sister definitely has one too.
Wow.
Like that must be what I'm feeling. Like that they were really close like that, and that close bond that they would be pulled together no matter what inspired that series. After a roaring success, do you know the premise of the show Sister Sister?
Of course.
It's a classic premise too. It's like $1 million premise, right? It's sitcom gold of sisters separated, brought back together, twins. Every kid has that imagination moment.
Right. And it happens in real life too.
That's always awesome family drama.
Well, there's psychological. A lot of psychologists do studies on stuff like that. It's amazing because there are these two people. There's a famous case of the most famous twins. One separated. One was raised a Jew, and then one was raised a Nazi. And they came together, and they both had the same hairstyle, and they both only they only wore these kind of clothes, and they only ate this kind of food, and it was really all these weird similarities. Mm-hmm. They just had differing ideologies. A classic nature versus nurture debate. Sure.
Yeah. There's also ones I've seen it's a meme that's kind of posted all the time, but it's two guys that were reconnected later in life, and they had wives that had the same name. They named their first kids the same names.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and it's weird how some stuff stays true, some stuff changes.
That's right.
Fascinating stuff to study. I just wanted to bring that up because this is the first time we mentioned him, and he's credited in every episode as the creator of the program. he basically Nickelodeon came to him as like, after your sister success, can you help us with this? Meet these two awesome kids that we have, Kenan and Kel.
Oh.
And he saw their dynamic, and he's like, oh yeah, this is sitcom gold. And he built the ship that all these writers and everyone else kind of sailed to success.
Okay.
So, real good stuff and ideas coming from Kim Bass. So, thank you for your awesome contributions and a creation of this program that we love.
Yes, thank you so much. If he's out there listening.
Yes, well, I hope you hear these kind words, and we'd love to talk to you.
It's really awesome that we get to highlight stories like this, because two young men like Kenan and Kel getting to like share the spotlight of Nickelodeon at the turn of the century. Yeah, pretty big deal. So definitely, Kim Bass is a highlighter of stories, and we appreciate all the work that he has done throughout the years.
All right. So let's talk ratings. So IMDb ranks this episode, believe it or not, very low. Equal footing with last week's episode, 54 out of 62.
Ugh. Was that the one that was tied with?
Yes. I'm gonna get you, Kenan.
Yeah. Whoever rated these are just stupid.
It's an amalgamation, is what I'd call it. It's a 7.0 out of 10, and it's still pretty high. It's a 7.
Right.
Yeah, but in terms of all the other ones, it falls like, to the lowest category, like maybe the bottom 10. Out of 10 bottles of orange soda, what would you give the Limo?
I would give it an 8.
I think it's very fair. I also gave it an 8.
8's fair. Yeah, it's not great. I mean, it's great, but it's not like outstandingly amazing. It doesn't meet like some of my favorite episodes, but it's still up there.
It's good stuff. It's a good what do you call it, palate cleanser. Back on task with what Kenan, because sometimes if you have too many like experimental episodes in a row, it gets kind of weird.
Right.
But I'm glad we're back in the saddle with these two.
That's right. And we'll see what happens next week, Adam, because we have a different director and a different writer.
Right. Next week's episode's written by Chris Brown, not that Chris Brown.
But maybe. And then it's directed by Howard Storm.
Right. So I think it's Howard Storm's first one.
Howard Storm, born December 11th, 1939.
Oh, he's not a first-time director. This is actually his last stint. He previously directed Bag and Sack and Kel, Safe and Sorry, and Haven't Got Time for the Paint.
Okay, we'll see what happens when, with a pair of courtside tickets to the Chicago Bulls line, Kenan and Kel set out to win a contest by performing the wackiest stunt ever.
Sounds like a recipe for success.
Sounds like it, Adam.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us, Fantas, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We really appreciate you, and thank you so much for listening. Until next time, here it goes. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of Kenan and Kel with Adam and Aaron. If you want to stay in touch, send us an email at KenanKelPodcast@gmail.com, or you can send us a voice message at anchor.fm/KenanKelPodcast. Our social media accounts are all at KenanKelPodcast. That's Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Thanks, everybody.